All right, so I got to start with the Dustin and Islam fight because I was going to put it later in the video, but I'm like, I want to make sure people see this part because Dustin is a star. Like he's, in my opinion, has like transcended the sport in the way that I look at him because he's like this incredibly unique character in mixed martial arts because he's so adverse to the kind of, I don't know, loudmouth, I don't know, dirty way of promoting fights. And I don't mean adverse to it where like Khabib is adverse to it, but like Khabib is making a choice. He doesn't like to play, like he doesn't want to play like that. He thinks that people should be respectful. That's the way that people should approach the sport. You respect your opponent. You're going to go in there and you're going to find out who the best fighter is. He's great at promoting fights. I've always said that Khabib is very, 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 very underrated as a fight promoter. You know, he'll kick a guy's belt off the stage. He'll call out Conor and his entire country to get the fight. He knows how to play the game, but he has standards of where he'll go, and he doesn't really like to cross those things, but it's a choice. Dustin, from a personality perspective, is 100% adverse to this stuff. Like it's against his personality. Like it's very obvious to someone who's good at kind of gauging people that Dustin is an introverted guy. He's one of the most obvious introverted guys I've ever seen, actually. Like, he's an introvert, but for 100% sure. Like, he does not like to do the kinds of things that a lot of guys do to promote fights. And in a lot of cases, that works against guys. And for Dustin, maybe it did earlier in his career. But what happened with him is that through the McGregor fights and the visibility that he was given in those fights, people got to know who he is as a person. You know, it's very, very rare when you really get to understand who a person is when they're fighting. You do, however, get to find out exactly who people are who talk on YouTube all day. See, watch. Context is I just said I was sick for the last 3 days, and then this is how I asked for people to subscribe. It's ridiculous. I'm a moron. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I enjoy your guys' company as much as you guys hopefully enjoy mine. What? Hey, we're going to be doing much better in videos. Okay, what's the first thing you're going to say? Some shit that makes no sense. Like, that makes no sense. Great start to your new brain. You're the guy, dude. You're the guy. Shut up, Jesse on Fire, you fucking idiot. Okay, so, but you can subscribe to the channel if you like. Oh, and like this video, for God's sake. Okay? If I'm going to ridicule myself, I'm not doing it for my own entertainment. I'm doing it to generate likes, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like, I was just listening to Rogan and Dave Smith's episode of JRE. I'm going to do a lot of, well, I don't know about a lot, but I'm going to do a big video about some stuff that I pulled from that episode, like, you know, watching it today. But one of the things that they were talking about was how in mainstream news, one of the main problems is that you have these tiny little segments. So how are you going to have any kind of discussion where you're sharing any meaningful information when you have like a 4-minute segment to talk about these incredibly complex issues? So you just get this little like bite-sized version of this very important, huge story. Well, that's very similar to how the fight game normally works, which is why people create characters, right? That is the entire reason they do it, is because they understand that. And so if they only have, you know, 4 minutes to explain who they are, they'll create the most interesting character that they can to present to the fans. There's a lot of people that probably would love to give you their entire life story, but there's no way to deliver that information in a way that's going to be digestible. So, you know, that just doesn't work. In Dustin's case, we know who he is. He's been around long enough, and he's gotten enough visibility to where we know, like, at least I feel like I understand exactly who this guy is. He's a bloodthirsty savage. That's the way that his former coach in Louisiana described him in Patrick Avia's documentary about him. I made Gabrielle watch that yesterday during the Costa and Strickland fight, so that I'm like, okay, so you need to have all this backdrop so when you watch the Dustin and Islam fight. And I love that. That's what he said. He's like, they're like, so what was it about Dustin that, you know, he's like, the guy is a bloodthirsty savage. And that's just the facts. And I was like, I get goosebumps thinking about it, dude. Because Dustin is not a talker, you know. The loud, you know, people are always like, oh, the loudest guy in the room is usually the weakest guy in the room, you know, or the quiet one is the one you should be afraid of. I 100% agree with that. Actually, I don't even think it's agree. I think that's just, in most cases, just like a fact. You know, you don't need to like get on stage and start yelling at people, you know, Like the Wes Watson thing when he's at Fresh and Fit. I don't know if you, I keep referencing this. I have no idea if people have even seen that. I'll slap, I'm the Durban. You're just up there yelling. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Okay? Shut up, guy. And Dustin is the exact epitome of that. Like quiet, reserved, and not looking to like make a big show. It's just if you stick your finger in it, you force him to show you who he is, and it's going to be a fucking hard moment for you because he's going to fucking eat your liver. You know what I mean? It's just, and he won't feel either way about it afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not, what's the right way to put this? A lot of guys win a fight. You know, they fight a guy. I'm talking like, you know, you really put pressure on him, not like in the cage. Like you put pressure on a guy puts it on a dude, and they'll feel a certain way about it, you know? Like, yeah, dude, what's up? Dustin won't feel shit about it. He's just like, you threatened my family, so I literally strangled you to death, and now I'm going to go back to what I was doing, and I'm not going to feel good, bad, or otherwise about it, because that's just what I do. He's a fucking savage. And he does charity in his off time. You know what I mean? It's like Conor is showing this version of himself on purpose. Like I'm going to do videos about this week. Conor is pretending to be out partying right now. I guarantee you he's not. Conor is the ultimate, like, show you what you want to see, you know, show you what he wants you to see. I mean, obviously he really does party when he's off, but like he's very cognizant of what he shows people. Dustin is just an open book. And what Dustin does when he's not fighting is he's doing fucking charity and hanging out with his family. He's been together with his wife since they were in fucking middle school. Like, how can you not root for that guy? How can you not root for that guy? How could anyone not root for that guy? Like, dude, DC last night, he's like, it's weird, you know, when you got two guys that you really like fighting. Islam's on his fucking team, dude. Islam's on his team. And you could tell, like, he's like, you know, it's impossible to root against Dustin, man. But in the fight itself, I mean, are you kidding me, dude? Like, Dustin is, like, that fight right there just epitomized his entire career to me, where you just cannot put that guy down. You can't do it. He will not quit under any circumstances. He's like, you know, he finds himself with, you know, in a body triangle with Islam on his back with like almost 4 minutes in the first round. And I said to Guerrero, I'm like, he's not like, he will never give up, dude. Like, he'll just never give up. He will never give up. It doesn't matter. A lot of people, you know, when they're in that position, they start to get worn down. They start, you know, questioning themselves. To Dustin, like, it's par for the course. He's just like, nope. He's like, I'm just going to beat this round. I just need to get out of this round, and then we'll move on. Second round, he has a good round. Khabib gets furious at Islam for standing and trading. Third round, he gets his nose broken by a headbutt, by the way. And, dude, the moment where he snuck out the back of that, you know, when Islam was on him, after just wearing him out on the ground that entire round, and he snuck out the back and then escaped that arm attack and then was standing there and he was yelling in Islam's face and he was pushing forward and Islam was walking back. In all seriousness, if Dustin would have by somehow knocked out Islam in that moment when Dustin snuck out the back, you know, like, he's in terrible trouble. The entire round, he's got a nose broken, his face is swollen. Everyone is like, man, this is getting ugly. No one sneaks out the back on Islam like that. He sneaks out the back. Islam attacks the arm. He escapes the arm attack, and then stands up and is like walking him down, screaming in his face. Oh my God, man. I'm like, if he knocks him out right here, it was like one of those moments where you could feel it building. And like, I thought if Islam was not as good as he is, that would have been a moment where Dustin would have knocked him out. But Islam is so fucking good, dude. He's so good. But the way you end up having to put Dustin down, you know, is you trap him in an absolutely inescapable Darce choke, and he, you know, he's going unconscious and he knows it, taps, and he tapped so close to unconsciousness that he went unconscious anyway, you know? And that Darce is so, like, it's such a shit choke to be in because you don't, well, at least for me, I don't know if people who are much better than me at jiu-jitsu, are very aware that they're getting trapped in a darce. But like when I've gotten trapped in darces, I didn't even realize I was in trouble until I was getting choked. Now, in fairness, this could be because I'm rolling with like insanely like high level guys that have trapped me in darces where I'm like, oh, I'm cool. Never mind. I am going to go unconscious if I don't tap. But you know, like, it seems like a very slick submission. Even like when those guys tap me with other stuff, it's like I knew I was in trouble, and then I got, you know, then it's like I failed to escape, where that one comes out of nowhere, you know, it seems like. And but you know, like Dustin, you know, speaking of submissions and how you're going to handle them, the Americana that Islam had Dustin in, I was like, oh shit, because I knew Dustin's not going to tap to an arm submission. You know, I don't think he's going to tap. So I'm like, oh my God, dude, please let him escape this, dude. I want to see Islam break Dustin's arm. Like I want to see like well, that would have been a terrible metaphor. I don't want to see it, is my point. I mean, bottom line, just getting to the end of this segment, I just want to say that Islam Makhachev has no weaknesses. He is, when you really think about that fight in its totality, where you're objectively, at least I was objectively rooting for Dustin Poirier because I can't help it. And so the first time you watch a fight, you see it through that lens. But when you really examine that fight, how do you not come away with, dude, Islam is unreal. Islam Makhachev is unreal. Unreal. The discipline that guy showed in that fight, okay? Like there was a million opportunities for him to make a mistake. You know, I mean, he made some mistakes on the ground, obviously, that Dustin was able to exploit and then escape. But I mean, like, you know, make a mistake that cost him big. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. He stays composed on his feet all the time. He did not give Dustin any opportunity to catch him with something that could have knocked him out. I mean, you know, he kept grabbing that Muay Thai clinch, and I was like, maybe Dustin could sneak an uppercut in that he doesn't see, you know, but like he just doesn't make mistakes. He does not make mistakes. He is incredible. He is incredible. Incredible. And I like the fact that he says he wants to go up, because Dana said that John Jones is the #1 pound for pound. I'm going to do a separate video on that actually right after this. But congratulations to Islam, and Dustin, congratulations to you. And here's the deal. So I promised, or actually, I don't know if I promised this. He's not going to retire though. And I think what's going to happen is if Conor beats Chandler, I think there is a high likelihood that Dustin versus Conor is the next fight. You know, it depends on how it goes, because Ilya and Max are going to headline the Sphere. Okay, spoiler alert, that's what's going to happen. Ilya and Max are gonna headline the Sphere. So, in the event that Conor beats Chandler, depending on the outcome and how it happens, there is a high likelihood, in my opinion, that he fights Dustin next, especially if Islam wants to go up to 170 to challenge for that belt. I wonder if you could justify somehow doing an interim between Conor and Dustin, even though, I mean, Dustin's coming off a loss. There's no way they could do it. It was so close though, dude. Kind of, you know? I wonder if they could do that. But I think Dustin versus Conor, very, very probable, because you know how much money. I mean, like, so Dustin's like, what am I fighting for? They're all, how about $8 million? It's like, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it, dude. That'll do it. You know, because that's what he said. He's like, what am I fighting for? I don't need money. I don't need money. That's the most beautiful thing that you could ever hear a professional athlete say, you know, is when they say they don't need money, because it means that they have successfully taken the money that they made and they put it in a place where they do not have to worry about it ever again. And so, like, Dustin makes $10 million. He doesn't go buy a boat. He doesn't go buy whatever. It appears to me, gives it to a money manager. It's like, I want to make sure that my family is set up for life. And they are. And they are. It's unbelievable to me how some professional athletes spend money. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but it is really crazy to me how guys spend money, where you're like, dude, you know for sure that this way that you make money is going to end in a few years. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you own a piece of jewelry? You know, like, why do you own jewelry? Why do you own more than one or two cars? What the fuck are you doing? Why do you have a $700,000 car? I mean, Conor money is different, but guys, guys who make $8 million, like a guy who makes $8 million, they're 35 years old and they made $8 million over the last 3 years. Are you fucking serious? You're buying shit? What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You can be set for life. Just don't do that. All you do is just don't do that. Give the money to a money manager and let them tell you what you can and cannot spend, and then spend based on that. Just go to an expert, dude. You don't know shit about money. You're a fighter. You don't know shit about money. I don't know shit about money. For the record, like I am not putting myself in a category of people who know shit about money. I am smart enough to know that I don't know shit about money. So anyway, congratulations Islam, congratulations Dustin. Let's talk about Sean and Costa, and I'll probably wrap for this video. Now, before we get into Costa and Strickland, I got to talk about this fight, Lima against Raposo. Why? Well, because when I saw that this was a split decision, I said, okay, we're going to have some absolutely outlandish judging tonight because this was unbelievable, okay? So a bunch of guys, like, I don't know, six guys from my team were fighting at IBJJF Worlds yesterday. So I was going back and forth between the prelims and watching them on Flow. So I watched the Lima and Raposo fight. The fight ends. There is no question that Lima won 30-27. Absolutely none. None. There is no defense that Raposo won any of those 3 rounds. Not possible for anyone with 2 eyeballs to think that he did not win all 3 rounds. Lima. So I go over to Flow. I'm watching one of my guys fight at Worlds. And then my buddy Jojo texts me and he's like, how could that have been a split? And I'm like, what? I called him. I'm like, someone judged that fight for Mitch Raposo? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, we're fucked tonight, dude. Wow. I called him. I'm a text guy, I'm a text guy. And I called him because I'm like, there's no way. Isn't it funny how some people are text people and other people are call people? It's like, I don't know. It's like, to me, people who are very absent with text, but are like would prefer you call them. For me, that's weird because I'm like, that's like a big commitment of time. Like I could communicate what I want to say to a person super quick, where it's like, la, 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 bang, send. Takes 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And if you voice dictate, you're just like, blah, 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 boom, send. I don't know. Anthony Smith is the #1 call over text guy that I've ever been friends with, dude. He will respond to text 1 out of 10 times and he'll answer the phone 98% of the time. I just took me, like, he had to like train me like a dog, I'm like, because like if you're just like a texter, you're like, what the fuck, dude? Is he mad at me? Call. Yeah, what's up, man? Every time. So like, you're just like, oh, he just is like a not respond to text guys. And then other guys who are buddies with him, he's like, yeah, I texted him, but he didn't respond. I'm like, oh, okay. So he's not a fucking text message dude. He's a fucking call me guy. I had one of my really good friends in California when I still lived there was a ex professional hockey player but he outright told me, he's like, I don't respond to texts. I'm like, why? He's like, I just don't like it, dude. Call me. I'm like, that just seems like a fucking lot of work, man. He's like, I don't do text messages. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. So if I call someone, I'm just saying like, that means that there's like I was like, whoa, dude, really? Anyway, it's a fucking long story. I'm probably going to cut out of this fucking video. Here's the thing, man. I love Sean Strickland. I will always be rooting for the guy, period. I think he's hilarious on the microphone. I can tell the guy has a really good heart. He's just like, it's so weird to say because of how he behaves, but like, I think he's a really good person. I actually really do think that now. I think he's a good person. Underneath it, I think he's got a lot of love in his heart, dude, but, in terms of the fight, it's like that last 10 seconds of that fight actually really aggravated me, like it really, like, I don't know how else to say it. It's like that aggravated me, because obviously Sean has a methodology that works, right? Like this works. No one can question whether or not the way that he fights is effective because he went out there and he beat Israel Adesanya for 5 straight rounds. He's beat all the good guys. I believe he beat Dricus du Plessis. I don't even think it was arguable. I know people still like, well, whatever, but I thought he won the fight. And it just is what it is. He wins fights. But they're all very close, it seems like. Like they're all, you always, like you have to argue that Sean won the fight in a lot of cases. And if that was not, like a choice by him, then I wouldn't say kind of like, the last 10 seconds aggravated me because the last 10 seconds when he poured it on, you're like, dude, you could have gotten Costa out of there. I mean, obviously. Like, you obviously could have got him out of there. You just, you know, and he's like, he kept walking backwards, kept walking backwards, kept walking backwards. You're like, yeah, but you can choose to move forward faster also if you want to. I'm in no position to question how this guy wants to, you know, manage his fights or control his career. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I have in no position to give him any, it's obviously working. But like, as a fan of him, big fan of his, when he lets it all out at the end and he hurts Costa instantly, I mean, I don't know. I'm like, dude, where the fuck was that for the last 25 minutes? Now, I will say that would have been stupid to do in the first 2 rounds against Costa, but once Costa's got his mouth open, you know, he's walking backwards, he's obviously getting tired. Like, throw that in there a couple times, you know what I mean? But, I mean, I'm glad he won. I love Costa too. But I don't know. Now, I did want to show you guys this too. But again, I'm sorry, the judging. I literally told Gabrielle that was going to happen. I think I said that earlier in the video, but I told her, I'm like, this is the world that we live in now, is I now can objectively watch fights knowing what the right answer is, and I can predict half the time that there's going to be a split decision. It's like, you're like, I know at least one of these judges doesn't understand the sport and is a dumbass. They're going to think because like he threw punches harder that like that means they're winning the fight. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you could possibly, how are these people selected? Seriously. How are they selected? Why do we not have former UFC fighters with all of their faculties really, really sharp, former UFC fighters that just have aged out of the sport? Why are they not the judges? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. You know what I mean? Are you going to argue? Are you going to argue with Anderson Silva? Like, what happens as soon as you get done watching a fight, right? And you think it's a close decision. And then Henry Cejudo does a video where he's like, this is why I think this guy won. Okay? And then Michael Bisping is like, I think this is why I think this guy won. Or Anthony Smith is like, this is why I think this guy won. Okay, well, their opinion matters. Like, I'll listen to that. I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, when Henry Cejudo said that he thought Duplessis won the Sean Strickland fight, I mean, I'm so sure that Strickland won, and like in terms of my opinion, that I was not movable on it. But I was like, damn, really? You know, like, damn. I'm not in a position to be like, what the fuck do you know, Henry Cejudo? And everybody knows. I mean, everybody feels the same way. So why the fuck aren't these guys the judges? You're telling me they don't want to sit fucking cage side and judge the fights? Who are these people? How are they judges? Why do we not have guys like Cejudo judging fucking fights? You know, it just doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I wish Strickland would have done more. I'm excited that he's probably going to get a title shot next, I would imagine. And that's going to be good. He's a superstar, dude. The guy's a superstar. If this guy would take a little bit of more risks and start getting finishes, it's hard to even wrap your brain around how big of a star he'll be, because he's doing this while simultaneously having boring fights most of the time, right? Like he's having boring fights and he's this big of a star. Imagine if he starts starching guys, and he can. So I wanted to show you guys this. This was a clip that I saw where Luke Rockhold and his coach are talking about why or how to beat Sean Strickland, and asking why no one fights him. Oops. Sorry, guys. That was not what I meant to do. Like, why is no one fighting him like this? So I wanted to show you guys this, and then I want to talk about Islam and Dustin.
I'm into my thing. He's winning this fight, right?
What's the fascinating thing, Pete? The fascinating thing about Sean Strickland is no one goes body head.
Oh, there's a hair. I see it.
Sean leans back. He plays this stupid game.
Well,
You lean him forward with the body and you go to the head. I've seen him get eaten up by a fucking amateur.
somebody's just on you, and you can't. Nobody. What you're dealing with. Because there's a weird pressure. There's a weird reflex where he just makes you miss.
He does that stupid little shuffle.
Well, Strickland has.
I'll tell you why I thought this was notable about why does no one go body head. Well, someone did go body head on him. One guy, Alex Pereira, and he starched him. You know, I don't have any idea. Like, you know, if it's obviously Pereira's kind of in a league of his own in terms of the quality of his striking, but it is interesting that what they are saying in terms of like, why doesn't someone approach the fight this way? The only guy who really made that his approach knocked him out. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I obviously hope Strickland doesn't get knocked out. I just hope he starts knocking more people out himself. Anyway, just to wrap this up, dude, I love Strickland. He said, thank you to all the fans. Wasn't the fight I expected. Costa, I wish you the best. On to the gold. My team is the best. Thank you all for the hard work that we put in. Congratulations, my dude. All the best. And listen, like, I'm going to do a video right now about Strickland and Trump in the building at the same time. There was like the Trump thing. I have to do a video about Trump at UFC last night. So I'm going to do that coming up, and I'll talk more about Strickland in that video. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Bye.